welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Now today I wanted to talk a little bit about the SIHH watch fair that has just passed, and I want to pick out my 3 winners and my 3 losers of the fair. Now before we get started, of course, customary wristwatch check. Now today I am wearing the Panerai Luminor Marina. It's a Richemont brand. SIHH is very Richemont oriented, so I figured it'd be perfect for this video. But anyway, a little bit about SIHH first. SIHH, along with Baselworld, is a fair that happens once a year that, hosts a bunch of high-end watchmaking brands. Now, at this fair is when the brands kind of showcase their releases for the year. And there's usually 2 types of releases. There's the releases they actually plan on selling a lot of, commercial releases, new parts of the collection, and some high-end releases just to kind of strut their stuff and show what the brand is all about. This may not necessarily be a commercial release, but it's something like a concept car at the auto shows, kind of to showcase what the brand is working on. And this year was an interesting one, because as you guys know, the watch industry hasn't been doing all that well. So it's an interesting mixture of, a little bit of cost cutting, some new great releases, but it's a fair that had a little bit less action than most years. And I want to talk about 3 brands that I think did really well, and 3 brands which probably should have done a little bit better. These, of course, are in no particular order. So first off, let's start with my winners. And of course, the first brand I'm going to talk about is H. Moser, a brand that I've talked about quite a bit in recent times with their new dropping the Swiss-made label and making this great new YouTube commercial, which has kind of gone viral in watch terms. Now, H. Moser was the talk of the fair, not necessarily for their releases, but because of their Let's Make Swiss Made Great Again campaign and dropping the Swiss Made label. So everybody was talking about it. In fact, the most popular item of swag from the fair were these caps that say Make Swiss Great Again. I'll show a picture right up here, and I'm definitely working on getting one of these for myself. Now, apart from this fantastic marketing campaign, which really blew up and is probably the biggest reason they're on my winners category, they did release a few really cool watches. Now, of course, they released the Swiss Mad watch, but that's very, very limited edition. That's more of strutting their stuff kind of release. But they also came out with this watch called the Venturer. Of course, 100% in-house. It's a smaller dress piece in precious metals only, and it's the first watch to remove the Swiss-made label from the dial. It features these gorgeous fume dials, which come in a few different colors, and it features Moser's fantastic in-house movement. Now, apart from this, they also released another part of their Endeavor collection, the Endeavor Concept, with a fantastically made guilloche dial that's all hand engraved by a guilloche artisan in a beautiful blue hue with a blue strap. Easily one of the most beautiful releases of this SIHH. So you take their fantastic marketing campaign and them stirring the pot, a couple of solid releases, and a few more as well, and that's why they make this year's winner category, at least in my humble opinion. Now, moving next is another brand which I've spoken about quite a bit, and that is Piaget. Now, Piaget this year has really shaken things up as well. Now, they released the Piaget Polo S, one of their first steel watches, as Piaget is really known for their precious metal watches. And this is the reboot of the Polo line, the Piaget Polo S. Now, yes, a lot of people say it looks like a Patek. It's very Genta-esque. However, I know for a fact it's selling like hotcakes, and the price at $9,350 is fantastic. Less than half the price of an Aquanaut, and it comes on a bracelet, not a strap. So first off, congratulations, Piaget. That is a fantastic release. Now, this year's SIHH also concurs with Piaget's 60-year anniversary for the Altiplano. And what did they do? Apart from a couple of limited editions, which are gorgeous, they came out with a whole line of altiplanos in fancy colors. Fantastic. Kind of like the H. Moser Fume look, but it just takes their best-selling line and it adds a ton of options. Really playful, but at the same time restrained, as the style that is Piaget is really known for, restrained watches, but they're having a little bit of fun with it. So I think with this massive commercial release that is the Polo S and these really cool new Altiplano releases, Piaget is definitely one of the hottest brands at this year's SIHH. And then, of course, we have to mention Jaeger LeCoultre. Probably the most well-rounded SIHH releases this year by any brand. We have new reversos. My personal favorite is the new reverso Moonphase. I'll put a picture right up here. I love the contrast on the dial. I think it's very, very well balanced and it looks fantastic. Now, they also made a new collection of limited edition pieces. They're not limited necessarily, but they're only being made for 1 year. And this is the new sector dial master control watches. I'll put a picture of the chronograph right up here. And boy, oh boy, these are gorgeous. Particularly the chronograph is my favorite. There's nothing like a beautiful dress chrono. Now, yes, the master control, it didn't add any new movements. However, this is just a fantastic looking piece. And I made a video earlier talking about what watches I wanted to buy this year. I'll leave a link right up top. And you know what? I think this master control chrono with the sector dial really just jumped up to the top of the list. Fantastically done, very, very tasteful, and what can I say? I'm in love. So bravo, Jaeger. Now, let's move to the brands that have particularly disappointed me this year. First off, I gotta talk about Audemars Piguet. I mean, it wasn't that bad in my opinion. They came out with a few new dial options for the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak chronograph, some crazy colors in the Royal Oak diver, which I think are really cool, and the new ceramic Royal Oak. But that's all the brand has become, Royal Oak, Royal Oak, Royal Oak. Guys, you're a one-trick pony. I think it's time to start giving some love to the Millenary, the Jules Audemars, the Edward Piguet lines. You can't just rely on the Royal Oak. Now, yeah, the Royal Oak releases were very cool. I think, the new chronographs were a little boring. The new color schemes on the divers were really cool. But I'm just bored. You guys bore me. Audemars Piguet spice things up, at least in my humble opinion. Now, the second brand is a brand that I really, really love. And I struggle to put them in the losers category simply because I love the brand. And they also did, a couple of things really well, I thought. But not enough. And that is Cartier. Now, everybody knows I love Cartier. The Tank is one of the most iconic watches ever made. I've got nothing but love for them. And the good thing is they released the new Panthère, which is a remake of their most popular model. This is a fantastic commercial move because it's one of the icons of the collection and it's one of the best-selling ladies' watches of all time in the luxury segment. So bravo for bringing it back because the Santos Demoiselle that you replaced it with was no replacement at all. But what else did they come out with? The Cartier Drive Extra Flat and the Moonphase. Not really exciting. The Extra Flat is kind of cool. The Moonphase I don't get. It's a driver's inspired watch, something that would never need a Moonphase. Why not the Drive Chrono or the Drive World Time? Why a Moonphase? It's a good looking watch, but conceptually it just makes no sense to me. And it's still using the boring 1904 MC as a base. Yes, this is going to be a new movement with the Moonphase, but it's still based off the 1904 MC. And also, Cartier is really well known for coming out with great concept watches at the SIHH. And this year, they kind of left me a little numb. No concept ID, no new world time, jump hour. Carole Forestier Casapi, she's the movement engineer at the Haute Horlogerie factory of Cartier, and she's known for making some of the coolest things out there. And at this year's SIHH, I expected one of those releases, but sadly, Yeah, nothing. So great job on the Panthère. The Drive doesn't make any sense to me, and you guys might like it, but to me, it's just whatever, and no heavy hitting piece. So unfortunately, you're in the loser section simply because I expect more from you. And of course, last one, and this is a smaller brand, but oh my god, what a bomb, in my opinion, and that is Romain Jerome. Now, you guys kind of are famous for making the concept line, where you take materials, you put them in your watches, and you create a DNA watch. So they made the Titanic DNA previously, using steel from the Titanic. They used ashes from that famous Icelandic volcano, and you did that. You made a Super Mario DNA watch. That was kind of cool, a little gimmicky. What did they do this year? Guys, the Pikachu watch, the Pokemon watch. It's a Romain Jerome DNA with Pikachu on the dial. I know it's limited to only 70 pieces, but how many of these watches do you think you guys are actually going to sell? Especially in a 5-figure price point. These guys are out of their mind. And of course, another DNA they came out with was the DIFC DNA, using steel, rusted steel from a building in the UAE. Very lackluster. And this Pikachu watch, honestly, Romain Jerome, I think you guys are cool, but this is one of the stupidest things I've seen in a long time. Now, I don't usually use this strong of words, but I'm extremely disappointed in your releases this year. I don't know why I'm talking to you personally, but I guess, I think they're going to bomb. I think if anybody buys that Pikachu watch, they're out of their mind. And I'd be surprised if you sell 7, let alone 70 of them. Anyway, guys, what do you think of this year's SIHH? What do you think of my picks? Leave a comment in the comment section below. And of course, check out my Instagram, that's at Federico Talks Watches, so you can get great watch content even on the days when I'm not uploading. And of course, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It really does help, and it lets me know how my videos are doing. Thank you so much for sticking around for another episode of Federico Talks Watches, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.